Today I'm here with Areta Odiah. She's a Springfield news reporter from Springfield. Areta, nice to be with you today.
Thanks for having me.
So before we get into anything serious, let's talk about you growing up in Bridgewater.
Yeah, grew up in Bridgewater my whole life. My parents immigrated here from Nigeria and then moved us all to Bridgewater. I went to Bridgewater Rainham High School, lived there my whole life, and it's kind of where I grew my roots. Figured out what I wanted to do. I did a lot of things in high school and middle school, so I was definitely a busy kid in Bridgewater. But it wasn't. I mean, I can't complain.
Okay. Growing up in Bridgewater, were you ever watching like news or maybe like cable news growing up as a little kid? Because I know for me, my parents used to force me to watch the
Yeah,
news.
yeah, I did watch the news. My parents watched the news a lot. They watched a lot of Al Jazeera and more international news.
Mm.
But I definitely watched cable as well. I definitely watched a lot of WCVB Channel 5. Um, I grew up watching that station, and then obviously we kind of manifested that later on. But it was definitely one of the channels I watched all the time. And then there was this one time where Channel 5 actually came to my middle school, I believe it was, and I was like so excited. I was trying to get in the background of I was trying to get in the back of whatever they were doing, just trying to take the spotlight. And I didn't
Yeah,
know it then, but now I know that it was definitely a sign.
I know, and some people don't even know that because like to us, like especially me, because I grew up on cable, like that was
Hmm.
like social media at the time before it really like kicked up like that.
Yeah, no,
So
exactly.
to me,
So
yeah, seeing cable news and stuff like that, I was always like that type of person that like, oh, I
yeah, it
want to be on the
fascinated
news.
me. Yeah, I
Yes,
was like, what goes
exactly.
into that? Like, what even is cable? So I didn't even know at the time,
Literally.
but yeah, yeah.
Okay. Now, as you start to journey on, you went to college. I saw you went to Suffolk. Did you, as you started getting in that realm of like journalists, is there somebody that maybe that you saw in your time watching the news growing up that you're like, okay, like maybe there's some stuff that I like that this person does that I can do that in my further career?
Well, it's interesting because when I first went to Suffolk University, I was actually a law major, so I didn't even broadcast
Mm.
my wasn't even in my purview at all.
So
I
to
was
be
a
correct,
law
you want to
major.
go for law. You want to go for
Yes, I
law,
wanted
not
to be an attorney. Yep.
okay.
I wanted to be a family attorney. It was something that I was passionate about. Like, oh, I want to be Olivia Benson from Law and Order. Like I want to be just like I just want to be Olivia Benson. She's not even an attorney, but wanted to be a family attorney. And I was like, I can do it because Law and Order. And it was just like that's what I wrote my essay about to get into college. And so that was really what I wanted. And then I took the classes. And then the second semester, freshman year, I was like, I think it was just fantasy. It wasn't really what I wanted to do. So that's when I pivoted and I changed my major to broadcast journalism. I knew I liked public speaking. I knew I liked TV, creativity. And I talked to a lot of professors and different people. And I was like, let me try it and see if it's something that I liked. I just feel like I needed more of like a high energy, chaotic thing because that was just always how I was.
Would
So
you say
that's
you
when I
like working
pivoted.
under pressure? Do you
I
like
I
working under pressure?
really and I do and I'm pretty and I thrive under pressure for some weird
Mm.
reason. So I knew that law wasn't kind of the speed I was um it really wasn't what I was looking for any longer. So then I changed my major.
In making that transition, was there anyone that kind of like gave you advice or like what to do? You mentioned professors, of course, but was there anyone that you kind of reached out to in making this new transition towards journalism?
I would just say I did a lot of research. Aside from the professors, I did a lot of research on what even is broadcast, what goes into it. There obviously it's not just about going on TV and looking pretty, but also like there was the behind the scenes. I could have done behind the scenes stuff. I could have done producing. I could have done so many different roles. So I was like, do I want to be the person in front of the camera? I was like, it was just so foreign to me. So I did a lot of research, a lot of looking on social media to see if that was what I wanted to do. And then I was like, why not? I mean, it's never too late to change your major. And that time, it was a perfect time.
Every college student,
So
every college student,
yeah, they always think
every
it
college.
was. And I was an RA on campus at Suffolk
Mm.
for 3 years, and so residents would come up to me like, "Okay, I want you in my major, but I'm scared." I'm like, "I'm telling you, do it because it is not too late. Don't feel like if you're undecided and you want to go into something else, there is no college is the time to figure it out. If you figure it out in college, that's great. But I mean, it worked for me, so I just say do what you feel is right in that moment.
Okay, so now we get to journalism. Now, what was kind of like that first big break or like first kind of like stepping stone into journalism? Was it like being on TV, doing some editorial work? I know for myself, kind of getting into that space for just working on TV. For me, I started doing like behind the camera stuff before, as you can see today, I'm doing more on camera stuff.
Hmm. I'd say for me, my first break, I would say. So when I changed my major, I definitely had some making up to do with my parents, who were like, "Whoa,
Oh, 100%.
you
I
completely
know that
changed
wasn't
your
easy at
career. Like
all.
what?
Yep.
That wasn't the plan. Definitely wasn't easy, but I don't give up. So I was like, okay, I have to prove that I'm able to sustain a career and to actually build something for myself. So I applied for I became a resident assistant, so that gave me free housing, so a little bit less for my degree. And then as well as I got an internship at GBH, to be a studio intern at their Boston Public Library. And I think that for me, my parents know GBH. They watch.
Yep. No
And
GBH as a
so I
child. Yep.
think yeah, and I think that they saw them, they're like, okay, she just got two opportunities back to back in the same semester. And I think that's something we need to watch out for. So I think that was my first big break. And at the internship, they wanted someone who had no experience. I had no experience in anything at all because it was my first internship. So I got hired because I had no experience, which I'm very grateful for. And so it was
And you don't
something
see
that I
that a
was
lot.
able to
Usually it's the
learn.
opposite.
You do not. They said they wanted someone with no experience. That's how you learn an internship. And that's why
Exactly.
I applied at the right time because it ended up working out and it was awesome.
Hmm. I saw in the time as well because now from GBH, I saw you also were at WZVV, Channel 5, right?
Yep.
WCVV,
Hmm.
I think. So I
Yes,
saw
I
that you
was.
produced a show for the City Line, and it focuses on intersection of race and gender that impact women of color in society. Why do you feel like that was something important that you want to introduce in your time being there?
Yeah, so I would say when I was first looking at internships, I always look for things that are meaningful to me. And so when I was reading through all the internships, I saw City Line sparked my interest. It said that you get to produce a 30 minutes show and you get to write it and do it all yourself. And I was like, I mean, if I'm going to do an internship, that's how you do it. So I applied and I got it. And I decided that I wanted to do a show about people who look like me. So I decided to kind of break it up into different sectors, whether it's people that law kind of came back because I did a segment about the carceral system, women of color in the carceral system, kind of rebuilding their lives, women in the workplace, women in healthcare. So I decided to break it up into different pieces that I thought were meaningful to me because I definitely wanted to be something I can hold on to for my career, which is something that it was a lot of work that summer, but I think it was really worth it because the outcome that internship was definitely it was definitely hands on and it was one of the best um, opportunities I've had to do something like that on a big platform.
And I love how you mentioned that because even with my internship at Access Framingham, as I started getting more leisure to do stuff that I want to do, that's how I came up with the idea of like interviewing local broadcasters. Because how I looked at it is like they're coming from a space where we just see them and they talk, but we don't see what they talk about or like how they got into the business for some people that want to become broadcasters. Because at first, kind of like you, like I was attacking it off of like stuff that I majored in, which was sports. But then I was like, you know what? Let's grow it and let's just do all hands on, like from everyone. Like I don't care if it's meteorologists, news, sports, whatever it may be.
Yeah, and I'm very grateful that I had a lot of creative freedom from my supervisors because I mean, I had some experience at that point, and I think that definitely built some trust that okay, she can kind of do this, she can write this.
Yeah.
They helped me a lot create forming it, but it ended up being a beautiful product and something I'm definitely proud of.
And I love how you mentioned like how it resonated to you because I also see that you're a part of the National Black Association of Black Journalists. Why is it also something kind of very obvious, but why does that resonate to you a lot?
Yeah, so again, I just joined WWLP 22 News about 7 months ago now. And when I started, I said I wanted to build
Congratulations, by the way.
have thank you, appreciate that. And I wanted a community that people who look like me, who are also in the field, that will be bound together through this
Yeah.
journey, wherever I end up going. So I decided to join, and I'm looking forward to possibly attending one of their iconic conferences and kind of interacting with other journalists in the field. But it's definitely something that young Black journalists should definitely think about joining organizations, groups that resonate with you because I only do things to me that are meaningful um, and hopefully meaningful to other people as well.
And even when I did the research and I saw that about you, I even took it upon myself. I was like, you know what, this is probably something that I would want to get into as well
Yeah,
as I start to further on my career too. So
absolutely. I think it's something that everyone should consider and just looking at different options, different avenues. I mean, it doesn't hurt um, to kind of be a part of things like that.
now, as you grow in the space, because like you just said, now you're a part of WWLP. Is there like any new ideas or stuff that you like maybe are trying to bring to the table now in your work that you're doing there?
Yeah, I mean, I think I bring a lot of new ideas as a young, fresh journalist. I would say right now I'm working on it's kind of a tease to a possible podcast that you may or
Okay.
may not
I
see.
think I saw you did one already for Suffolk.
You may, yeah. So at Suffolk, I did. I was a podcast host for their business school, so I would interview professors and anyone who would come into the studio. I also worked at the studio through New England Cable News and did some of that.
Okay.
So podcasting was always something I was like, I don't know if it's for me. But then I kind of thought about it, and my coworker and I were talking about it, and we're like, why not think about? I mean, everyone's podcasting right now. Let's be real. Everyone's
Exactly.
podcasting right now. So it's like it may or may not come out, but that is definitely something new to me that I definitely want to hone in. And again, just trying new things. I mean, when you're in your first market, you want to just try different things. And if you have the opportunity to do some fun, cool things, then I mean that's really cool. I did a story that's on my LinkedIn. A young boxer, teen boxer who
I saw
is
that.
yes, just the coolest kid and one of my contacts sent me this young man's information and I was like, he's so cool. And I was like, can I do the story? And my boss was like, yeah, let's do it. And it was definitely something that I was also proud of because my first I like feature stories, I like investigative. So it was part of
Mm.
the feature where I got to really get in there and box with him and kind of have him show me the ropes. Um, but again, just trying different things, features, investigative. I'm general assignments, so I'm doing anything from crime to food to weather. So it's definitely again I'm learning new things about myself every day, and I think I'm improving each month, and just kind of seeing my progress is really really cool.
I love how you mentioned like some of those new ideas that you brought to the table. Because even with me bringing the idea, like doing some of the interviews I did, same thing like you, getting in contact with someone. I was able to meet up with Steve Byrne. He came, talked to my class, went up to him. First of all, I had done no interviews before that. Just went up to him. I said, hey, like, I'm a young kid. I just would love to interview at Access Framingham because he was born and raised in Framingham.
Hmm.
And he was down with a very, very humble man, very humble, very nice man. Was able to interview him, and then from there, I just kept going with it. So it's definitely good to, like you said, try new things, have new ideas, and just know,
Yeah.
like, get in contact with a lot of people for sure.
Yeah, definitely reach out to people, and you never know what will land. Because I definitely message people on when I was first looking at jobs. I was messaging people and like, how is this? How was people are very open to help, and it's very people will be surprised at how much other journalists and other young folks want to help other people kind of get in. And so I feel very much the same way. Like if anyone needs um advice or anything, I had so many people who were open and willing to help me and to get. I wouldn't be where I am today with other people who have helped me. So it is a long list. So I definitely say reach out to people. You never know if it lands. Keep pitching yourself, and kind of keep going.
And I feel like you know this as well as someone that was in college, but like connections. That's something that's very big too, especially forming these contacts or getting in touch with a lot of people.
Connections is everything right now. It, I mean, you can also there's also other routes, but I feel like for me personally, connections are how you get a lot of opportunities,
Yes.
and keeping them close when you encounter them.
So making it on WZVB, getting to produce some one of the segments for a City Line, and then now being on WWLP, and all these things that you've done so far, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but it was earlier when you were making that switch to going from, correct me if I'm wrong, it was law to journalism, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
what do you feel like maybe was kind of like maybe one of your biggest struggles or adversity so far, like as you had to like get into this new space? 'Cause I know for myself, the biggest thing was like, yes, you're in a space where there's broadcast and everything, but not all the time it's gonna happen like right away. Like you're gonna get that big story, or maybe you're gonna be able to do your own show or be able to like interview people. Like, what do you feel like maybe was biggest struggle or maybe just an adversity that you had to go through?
An adversity, I would say there's many challenges and struggles, especially with like, your schedule's changing. That was probably number one. Your schedule's changing, always in news. Everything's moving so fast, and you kind of have to get adjusted to the newsroom life. In a way, I would say you need a lot of patience with yourself because it's so easy to get frustrated. Oh, I messed up on this one word, and now everyone's gonna think this. Like you need to. It took some time to get out of your own head, to get out of my own head about what people would think of me if I messed up. Or when I did my first live and it didn't go exactly how I imagined. You gotta get back in news, you gotta move on immediately. Like immediately.
100%.
Next day, come in, new attitude,
Short-term
come in, do
memory.
your job. Yeah, basically. And in some instances, it's so hard to just forget. And I keep them all in my head. I'm like, when I mess up, I'm like, I'm gonna remember that forever. But it gets to a point where you can't focus on all of that, and you have to immediately move on. So I think one of my biggest challenges is not being so hard on myself, being so
Yes.
new, and I have so much time to grow and learn. And again, we all continuously make mistakes, but I think for me, it motivates me to keep going and pushing. And I think with that, I'm improving each and every week and every live and every story. So, I mean, it's hard, but it's really kind of sometimes it's like a self battle.
Yeah, it's definitely a battle because trust me, even when I with same thing again, interview Steve, went in it, practice. I was like, yes, I'm ready. Pre-record, not even live. Went in, I watched it back, and I was like, "This is total trash." Like I hate it. Like it was good as in views, but just for myself, like trying to like get better
Mhm.
and get like get into those spaces, I was like, "This is not good." But again, short-term memory, and just I guess got to keep going.
Yeah. And then other people would even watch and be like, wait, I don't even know what you're talking about. That wasn't even that bad. And I'm like, wait, like,
Oh
we're
no, it was
so,
bad.
we're our own worst, well, we're our own worst critics. So I'm like,
Yes, we are.
we have to be a little nicer to ourselves. But yeah.
I know. So as we get on to the future now, where do you hope to see yourself in the next 5 years in broadcasting?
5 years. I'm trying to think of what I'm doing tomorrow. Um, Future goals. I mean, for me, I want to be versatile in everything. As a
Mm,
journalist, as a storyteller. Again, I love public speaking. It would be great if travel, public speak, TED Talkish vibe. I will say I love entertainment, hosting a carpet. They just did that not long ago. Hosting more carpets, celebrities, things like that. Also, another one I recently just like researched was voice acting.
okay.
People, I've been told my whole life that I have a voice. I don't know if it's like in what form they meant, but I have a voice. And I think that voice acting, like, voiceover commercials
Voiceovers,
and
okay.
yeah, I think that would be pretty cool. But again, I like chaos. So I like to do many things, as I did in college and high school. That would be pretty cool to do a lot of those things. Podcasting could be in my future. Who knows? But
Starting your
yeah,
own podcast, yep.
yeah, for sure.
Black owned, would it be black owned or would it just be like something that you would just do with some friends?
It would definitely just be chill vibes because in aside from news, I'm just a very
Chill, laid
low
back.
stakes, chill, laid back girl. So I
Yeah.
would definitely hoodie, mic, talk about life, and just laugh it off. Yeah.
Okay. And as Areta, as we wrap up, what is your most favorite or memorable interview that you ever done
Wow.
so far?
I've
So far.
I yeah, I've had a lot, but the one that sticks out to me the most, um, I would say there's one woman that I think about quite often. There were two fires in Holyoke, Massachusetts. If anyone knows where that is, it's in Western Massachusetts. And it displaced dozens of families. And so I interviewed, well, we were, for the first 2 days that we covered the fires, we couldn't find someone to interview. And so then a couple days later, I head to a food truck by a woman named Ida Torres, and she's giving out supplies and food to those affected from the fires. And I spoke to one woman who lost her home, lost everything, documents, even a pet. She lost a pet, or I think multiple pets. And her interview was very real, raw, and emotional.
Emotional. Yep.
Really emotional. And it doesn't have her face in it, so it's basically like me on camera, interviewing her like that.
Mm.
And that really sticks with me because it was probably my first, like, really powerful interview where it was a just you could just feel the
Like
sadness from
you felt like you were in her shoes, basically.
it was so yeah, and I don't obviously you can't you have to, be you have to hold it in. You have to stay strong. So that was really hard to stay
The
strong in
tears
that
were coming. The
moment.
tears were coming.
And it was very powerful. And I think about that a lot. It really moved me and I try to incorporate it the best that I could in my story. And I do think about her a lot because she also was living she was in a hotel at that point where when I met her. And she said after a few days that she was going to be kicked out of the hotel and she had nowhere to go and no one's helping her. So I do think about her a lot. Um, and yeah, I would definitely say that one for sure. That was the first thing I thought because I do think about that quite often.
Yeah, 'cause sometimes it could either be from the advice or just like the moment, like the most impactful moment. For me, it was when I interviewed Josh Brigadier, and we're talking. He's talking about like where he's been, like traveling, everything with all the new opportunities. He went across the country, and like the biggest one, he was like, "Well, Brandon, like I had this one opportunity where I got to interview a guy that was running for office of the name President Barack Obama." I was like, "Wow!" And I'm just sitting there like,
Wow.
I know, because I'm just like, but again, you don't hear these things unless you like really talk to these people. Because again, how
Yeah.
I look at it is like, there's a lot of people that we see that they have amazing stories that they would love to share.
Yeah. And I mean, storytelling is why I do what I do, and someone needs to tell the story. So
Exactly.
yeah. Hmm.
Well, Areta, I just want to thank you again for coming in and sharing your time here at Access Premium.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. It was fun.